All right, where are we? Chapter 10 of magical lights, candles, lamps, etc. There are made artificially some kinds of lamps, torches, candles, and the like of some certain and appropriate materials and liquors opportunely gathered and collected for this purpose, which, when they are lighted and shine alone, produce some wonderful effects. There is a poison for mares after copulation, which, being lighted in torches composed of their fat and marrow, doth represent on the walls of monstrous deformity of heroes' heads, which thing is both easy and pleasant to do. The like may be done of asses and flies, and the skin of a serpent or snake lighted in a green lamp makes the images of the same to appear, and grapes produce the same effect. If, when they are in their flowers, you shall take a phial and bind it to them filled with oil, and shall let that remain so till they are ripe, and then the oil be lighted in a lamp, you shall see a prodigious quantity of grapes, and the same in other fruits. If centauri be mixed with honey and the blood of a lapwing, and be put in a lamp, they that stand about will be of a gigantic stature, and if it be lighted in a clear evening, the stars will seem scattered about. The ink of the cuttle fish being put into a lamp makes blackamoors appear. So also a candle made of some saturnine things, such as a man's fat and marrow, the fat of a black cat, with the brains of a cow or raven, which being extinguished in the mouth of a man lately dead, will afterwards, as often as it shines alone, bring great horror and fear upon the spectators about it. Of such the torches, candles, lamps, etc., of which we shall speak further in our book of magnetism and mummies, Hermes speaks largely of, also Plato and Chiranides, and of the later writers. Albertus Magnus makes particular mention of the truth and efficacy of these in a treatise on these particular things relative to the lights, etc. That was really short. Oh, I'll finish it. Of the art of fascination or binding by the look or sight. We call fascination a binding because it is. Is that fascination? We call fascination a binding because it is affected by a look, glance, or observation in which we take possession of the spirit and overpower the same of those we mean to fascinate or suspend. For it comes through the eyes, and the instrument by which we fascinate or bind is a certain pure, lucid, subtle spirit generated out of the ferment of the pure blood by the heat of the heart, and the firm, determined, and ardent will of the soul, which directs it to the object previously disposed to be fascinated. This doth always send forth by the eyes rays or beams, carrying with them a pure subtle spirit or vapor into the eye or blood of him or her that is opposite. So the eye, being opened and intent upon any one with a strong imagination, doth dart its beams, which are the vehicle of the spirit, into whoever we will affect or bind, which spirits, striking the eye of them who are fascinated, being stirred up in the heart and soul of him that sends them forth, and possessing the breast of them who are struck, wounds their hearts, infects their spirits, and overpowers them. Know, likewise, that in witches those are most bewitched who, with often looking, direct the edge of their sight to the edge of the fight. Damn. No. Direct the edge of their sight to the edge of the sight of those who bewitch or fascinate them, whence arose the saying of evil eyes, etc. For when their eyes are reciprocally bent one upon the other, and are joined beams to beams and lights to lights, then the spirits of the one is joined to the spirit of the other, and then are strong ligations made, and most violent love is stirred up, only with a sudden looking on, as it were, with the darting a look or piercing into the very inmost of the heart, whence the spirit and amorous blood, being thus wounded, are carried forth upon the lover and enchanter. No otherwise than the spirit and the blood of him that is murdered is upon the murderer, who, if standing near the body killed, the blood flows afresh, which thing has been tried by repeated experiments. So great is there in the fascination that many uncommon and wonderful things are thereby affected, especially when the vapors of the eyes are subservient to the affection. Therefore, cauteries, ointments, allegations, etc., are used to affect and corroborate the spirit in this or that manner. To induce love, they use venereal collyriums as hippomanes, blood of doves, etc. To induce fear, they use martial colorums as the eyes of wolves, bears' fat, and the kevet cat. To procure misery or sickness, they use saturnine, and so on. Thus much we have thought proper to speak concerning natural magic, in which we have, as it may be said, only opened the first chamber of nature's storehouse. Indeed, we should have inserted many more things here, but as they fall more properly under the heads of magnetism, mummy, etc., to which we refer the reader, we shall take our leave of the reader for the present, that we may give him time to breathe, likewise to digest what he has here seated upon, and while he is preparing to enter the unlocked chambers of magic and nature, we will procure him a rich service of most delicious meats, fit for the hungry and thirsty traveler through the vast labyrinths of wisdom and true science. End of Natural Magic. The author, having, under the title Natural Magic, collected and arranged everything that was curious, scarce, and valuable, as well as his own experiments and those in which he has been indefatigable in gathering from science and practice of magical authors, and those the most ancient and abstruse, is that right? Abstruse, as may be seen in the list at the end of the book, where he has put down the names of the authors from which he has translated many things that were never yet published in the English language, particularly Hermes Trismegistus, Parsclavius, Bacon, D. Porta, Agrippa, etc., 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 from whom he has not been ashamed to borrow what he thought and knew would be valuable and gratifying to the sons of wisdom, in addition to many other rare and uncommon experiments relative to this art. Where is it? Now remember, the S's are F's sometimes in this book, so it makes it difficult.